And so was national political reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, correct?
I don't know that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know Jeffrey Goldberg, and I've already testified. I don't know whether or how he was added.
Okay, well, he was a member of the signal chain, and the discussion included the vice president's private opinion on the wisdom of proposed U.S. strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Hey folks, welcome back to True Voice, where we talk truth, we talk justice, and we hold everybody accountable, no matter how high they sit or how powerful they are. Today, we're diving into an absolutely infuriating and revealing exchange from a recent C-SPAN video featuring Georgia Senator John Ossoff questioning former CIA Director John Ratcliffe. This is a big one, folks, because what's at stake here is more than just bad judgment. This is about national security, about our democratic values, and about how our most sensitive military deliberations were handled and possibly compromised. Now let's watch the video.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you all for joining us and for your service. Just to make sure I understand some of the basics here, so Director Ratcliffe, you were a member of the Houthi PC small group signal chain, correct?
I was.
Yeah, and so were the Vice President, the Secretaries of State and Defense, the National Security Advisor, and Ms. Gabbard, correct?
I believe so. I don't have a list of who was invited to be on.
And so was national political reporter Jeffrey Goldberg, correct?
I don't know that.
Yes, you do.
I don't know Jeffrey Goldberg, and I've already testified. I don't know whether or how he was added.
Okay, well, he was a member of the signal chain, and the discussion included the vice president's private opinion on the wisdom of proposed U.S. strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Vance, quote, I think we are making a mistake. I am not sure the president is aware of how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There was a strong argument for delaying this a month. You don't recall?
I don't. As you
don't recall seeing that?
Read that. I don't.
It included the private opinions of the Secretary of Defense on the timing of strikes in Yemen, correct?
I don't recall.
Director Ratcliffe, surely you prepared for this hearing today. You were part of a group of principals, senior echelons of the U.S. government, in now a widely publicized breach of sensitive information. You don't recall whether the vice president opined on the wisdom of the strikes? That's your testimony today under oath?
In that setting, I don't recall.
Here's what Secretary Hegseth said, quote, waiting a few weeks or months does not fundamentally change the calculus. Two immediate risks on waiting. One, this leaks and we look indecisive. Two, Israel takes an action first or Gaza ceasefire falls apart and we don't get to start this on our own terms. Your testimony is you don't recall the Secretary of Defense sending that message or reading it?
I recall there being an exchange. I don't recall the specifics as you're reading it.
Well, let's put it this way, Director Ratcliffe, a discussion by senior U.S. officials on the timing and risks of a proposed military campaign and disagreements between the president and the vice president about U.S. plans and intentions would be of obvious interest to foreign intelligence services, would it not?
Yes.
And they were discussing the timing of sending U.S. air crews into enemy airspace where they faced an air defense threat, correct?
I'm going to, Senator, defer to the other principles that you're referring to about what the meaning and the context of what they were on.
They're talking about the timing of U.S. airstrikes, correct?
Yes.
Yes, and therefore the timing of sending U.S. air crews into hostile airspace, correct?
Yes.
And therefore the time period during which enemy air defenses could target U.S. air crews flying in enemy airspace, correct?
I don't know that.
You do know that. Let me ask this question, General Hawk. You lead America's signals intelligence collection. Would the private deliberation of foreign senior officials about the wisdom and timing of potential military action be a collection priority for you and the U.S. intelligence community?
Senator, it's our job to do indications and warning for both the plans and intentions of adversary leaders and for military commanders.
And would not information about the timing of airstrikes allow a military to pre-position or cue air defense systems to shoot down enemy aircraft?
I think, Senator, from our perspective, any advance warning is something that we certainly are trying to protect.
Yeah. Director Radcliffe, this was a huge mistake, correct?
No.
A national political...
Hold on.
No, you
Let me
hold
answer.
on. No, Director Radcliffe, I asked you a yes or no question, and now you hold on. A national political reporter
you can characterize it how you want.
Was made privy to sensitive information about imminent military operations against a foreign terrorist organization. An inadvertent
mistake of adding a reporter.
And that wasn't a huge mistake? That wasn't a huge mistake?
Well, I think they characterize it as a embarrassment.
This is utterly unprofessional. There's been no apology. There has been no recognition of the gravity of this error. And by the way, we will get the full transcript of this chain, and your testimony will be measured carefully against its content. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
This is not just a political scandal. It's a patriotic emergency. So, Senator Ossoff, calm, measured, but absolutely razor-sharp, starts by confirming that Director Ratcliffe was part of a small, elite signal chain group discussing potential U.S. military strikes in Yemen. This group included top officials, the Vice President, the Secretaries of State and Defense, the National Security Advisor, and, wait for it, a national political reporter. That's right, a political journalist, in a private communication chain, discussing imminent military operations against a terrorist target. Sensitive, classified deliberations that could literally determine the fate of American service members were being shared with someone whose job is not to defend the country, but to write stories. Let that sink in. Now, Ossoff doesn't let this slide. He presses Ratcliffe on quotes from senior officials, including the Vice President and Secretary of Defense, who were clearly concerned about the timing of the strikes and even questioned whether the president was fully informed. And what does Ratcliffe say over and over again? I don't recall. I don't recall. Are you kidding me? You're the CIA director. You're in a private, sensitive military communication channel. And now you're telling the United States Senate, under oath, that you don't remember key conversations about sending our troops into harm's way? That's not just incompetence. That's either evasion, or it's an admission that national security was being treated like casual political chatter. Either way, that's unacceptable. And then Ossoff really drives it home. He asks the obvious question. If this kind of conversation, disagreements between the president and vice president, the timing of strikes, the vulnerability of U.S. air crews, fell into the hands of foreign intelligence services, would that be dangerous? Ratcliffe says yes. So why the hell was a political reporter on that chain? Let me be clear. As a left-wing patriot, I believe in a strong and accountable military. I believe in defending this country against threats, foreign and domestic. But I also believe that our strength lies not in secrecy and arrogance, but in our Constitution, in oversight, in transparency, and in the rule of law. This situation, it violated every principle we stand for. It wasn't just unprofessional, it was dangerous. Dangerous to our troops, dangerous to our alliances, and dangerous to our democracy. When General Hawk, the guy in charge of America's signals intelligence, says that any advanced warning could be catastrophic, you listen. You don't laugh it off. You don't invite the press into the war room. You don't forget what was said. But what do we get from Ratcliffe? Shrugging, dodging, denial. Folks, this is why we need strong, accountable leadership. This is why it matters who's in the room. And this is why we have to keep asking the tough questions, especially when the answers make powerful people uncomfortable. Senator Ossoff showed real courage here. This wasn't grandstanding. This was constitutional oversight in action. This was an elected representative doing his job, protecting the American people and defending the honor of our armed forces. And let's be honest, we need a whole lot more of that. Too often, the intelligence community gets a free pass. Too often, national security is used as a shield to avoid accountability. But if we really love this country, if we really respect our troops, then we have to do better. So what happens next? Ossoff said it himself. The full transcript is coming. And when it does, Ratcliffe's testimony will be judged against the facts. And if it turns out he lied, or even just willfully neglected his duties, then he should be held accountable. Not because he's a Republican, not because he served under Trump, but because he compromised the very thing every patriot should hold sacred, the safety and integrity of our nation. Thanks for watching, and if you believe in holding all leaders accountable, no matter the party, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Because being patriotic doesn't mean blind loyalty. It means defending the Republic. And we've got work to do. I'll see you next time.